Resident Evil fans have been absolutely starving for some DLC news for the RE4 Remake, and I think I speak for everybody when I say that. It feels like us Resident Evil fans have just been like sitting here just like patiently waiting like, alright Capcom, you know, where's the news at? We've been waiting. Now for me, I have all the patience in the world. As much as I'm really excited for this upcoming DLC, I have all the patience in the world because I do understand that good things simply take time. And I want Capcom to take their time with this DLC because again, if they rush this out and it's bad, it's going to be disappointing for all of us. And once again, I think I speak for everybody when I say that. First, I want to reel you guys back in because I want to let you guys know that we actually have some new information to talk about today. But surprisingly, in today's video, we're not going to talk about leaks. Well, except one little thing, but it's actually an official leak, but we'll get to that. Today, we're going to talk about some leaked voice lines from the DLC, discuss an upcoming gaming event in which Capcom is going to be at, and also talk about something interesting that I've been noticing on the Steam database for the RE4 Remake.
Thanks. That should keep me company, cause boredom kills me.
Alright, so let me get the first and probably the most obvious thing out of the way, and that's Tokyo Game Show. Now, naturally you would think, oh, well, Capcom usually is at Tokyo Game Show, so that means they're gonna show off the DLC, right? But if you actually take a look at the list of games that they have planned to showcase, you can see Street Fighter 6, Ace Attorney, and the RE4 Remake VR mode, but for some reason, where's the DLC? And if you read their entire website, they don't really mention anything about Resident Evil 4. It's just the VR mode. Now, before I dive into something that I think is really going to get you guys going and really going to get you guys excited, I first want to mention why I think we're still going to see something about the DLC at the Tokyo Game Show. So, first of all, I feel like they're just teasing us. I mean, I just find it so weird that they're showing all of these Capcom games, including the VR mode for RE4, yet there's no mention about the base game or its DLC. I personally feel like this is not the case and they're still going to show the DLC at the Tokyo Game Show, but it really does feel like a big tease to us fans. Because theoretically, if they don't show the DLC at TGS, then where else are they going to show it? They could just release an announcement on Twitter for the DLC, but I feel like that just wouldn't be good for the marketing. And I just can't see this DLC getting announced next year. I feel like it's definitely getting announced this year no matter what. But that's not all. So I actually mentioned this in a past video, so I'm just going to go over this really quickly. But for those of you who still don't know, there are new Steam achievements for the RE4 Remake on Steam. I'm not sure if it's the same way on console. For those who play the RE4 Remake on console, please do let me know. But at least on Steam, you can see right here that there are new achievements for the game. And Capcom added these like about a month and a half ago, if I'm not mistaken. So speaking of Steam, and this is the part that I was talking about that I think is really going to get you guys excited. Because in my opinion, this is one of the most credible sources if you're trying to figure out like when an update is coming out, or just trying to figure out general information on some sort of DLC for a game. But I introduced to you Steam database. Now for those who don't know what this is, you can go on the Steam database right now and search up the RE4 Remake, and you can look up a ton of different things on the game. You can look up the price history, you can look up the Steam charts. I mean, it even shows you right here that 2 days ago there were around 3,500 people playing the RE4 Remake. So if you search up RE4 and if you look right here, there's a thing that says update history. If you click on that, you see this. Now there's probably a bunch of you guys who are like, what is this? What am I looking at? Basically, if developers make changes to their game or if they're preparing an update, you will see it right here in the history. Now, in terms of what all of this means, I have no idea. Basically, these are files being added and modified to the game. Now, for a multiplayer game, you're gonna see this like 24/7, right? Because for a live service game, obviously, you know, developers need to constantly put out updates, constantly to put out patches and etc, right? But for a single player game, to see this many files being added and modified, I would say it's not necessarily not normal, but for a game like Resident Evil, it's definitely not normal. Now, about 3 weeks ago is when these files really started picking up the pace. But if you look here, you can see that these files were being added and modified, and this was going on for about like 6 to 8 hours. And if you keep scrolling, you can see it just keeps on going. I mean, across August 7th, for hours and hours, new files were being added. But then we get to the latest entry, which was 4 days ago on August 25th, and it says change user tags, store tags, yada yada. Now, I'm gonna assume that basically this just means that Capcom is changing the store tags to the game. I guarantee that a majority of these changes are for separate ways, but don't forget that we're also getting Mercenaries content. We're getting Wesker, we're getting Ada, and we're also getting new skins for Leon, Ada, Wesker, and I think even Luis. I also want to add that if you actually look here on the Steam database, you can scroll down to where it says Resident Evil 4 The Mercenaries DLC, but if you look over to the right, it says the last update that was made to this DLC was 9 days ago. So I'm not sure if that means too much, but that could also be another hint that we are in fact getting more Mercenaries content. But again, all of these changes were made just recently. And for those of you who still might be a little concerned, like, I don't know if the DLC is real, I feel like this could be for something else. I don't know if you guys knew this, because I don't think I ever mentioned this in a video ever before, but way back in April of this year, there were actually leaked voice lines for Ada Wong from Separate Ways, as well as Mercenaries. Now, I'm not sure if I can let you guys listen to them in this video, because I don't want to risk this video being taken down. I don't know if somebody data mined those voice lines from the game, like I don't know where those came from, but apparently those are leaked voice lines from Separate Ways and the Mercenaries content. I'm not confirming anything about the DLC, but when you put everything together, it simply just makes sense. We have Tokyo Game Show happening next month. New Steam achievements were just added to the game about a month and a half ago. Ada Wong voice lines were leaked on Twitter a few months back, and on top of that, all of these changes are being made in the Steam database all the way up until just recently. If you ask me, everything is coming together and we should expect an announcement sometime this year. Again, that is my prediction, but I feel like everyone can kind of agree with me here that with all of these changes happening just so recently, I mean, there's no way that we don't get the announcement this year. I'm gonna make a deal with you guys right here and right now, all right? If we do not get the Separate Ways DLC announcement this year, then I will do the one chip challenge. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's pretty intense. I said before that I feel like it's getting released this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're still getting it this year, but at the latest, spring of 2024. But of course, I want to know your predictions now. Be sure to drop your thoughts and comments down below, and of course, leave a like on this video. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.